What did I say? I told you I'd take care of you, or like make it up for the time I was away and stuff like that. I told you I would make it up. I told you this weekend was going to be exciting. And I know what you're probably wondering, like, wait a second. Jordan, didn't you have that CD, like, 70s porn star Mo? And yeah, I did. I did have that. But then I shaved it, because then I realized, one, it looks way too seedy. I cannot do facial hair to save my life. It just, like, it grows, but it just looks so bad. Like, you know, that was, like, probably 3 weeks of it growing. And, like, it just looked bad. And on top of it, if you could have seen what the rest of it, like, because I'd shaved first and then left that, if you could see what the rest of it looked like, terrible. But when I shave, oh man, so much, one, I look so much younger, and I think I look so much better. Like, even I'm looking in the mirror right now, and I'm just like, God damn. You know, I want to put some sugar and coffee in the, sugar and cream in that guy's coffee. God damn. But, what was I talking about? Well, yeah, me. But, no, let's talk about something else. So, yeah, the video. So, I shaved it because I was like, I realized I'm filming all these back to back pretty much, and I just realized I won't be able to tell the footage apart easily if, I've got the same Mo. I was meant to, so I thought I'd cut it in this one so I actually could tell some of the videos apart, but whatever. But we're 2 minutes in or whatever, so let's just get to the lesson of the day, or the thought of the day, or whatever you want to call it. The rambling of the day, actually. That's probably more like what it is. And what has it got to do with? So this one was prompted by one of my closest friends, who went for his provisional, it's the provisional driver's test, I think it's called, or provisional driver's license. It's called the P's test in Australia. So pretty much what it is in Australia is, so if you're from another country, other countries I think have similar things, but this is how it works in Australia. So you start out when you're you're 16 and stuff like that, you get your learner's driver's license where, you have to be in the car with your parent or some other, person who has their full license, and then they, teach you how to drive, and you have to do something like 120 hours in Australia to be eligible to even try to get your provisional license. You do 120 hours on your learners, and then once you've done that, you kind of do like this multiple choice test where you have to answer all these like road rule questions, and then the other component is you have to do a driving test with a driving instructor, watching you and scoring you as you're doing it, right? And it's not like on a driving course or anything. You just have to do all of these different, like, certain things on the road in an actual live, real world example. Like, you actually just have to drive off into the streets and into society, and complete the test. And once you've done that, at that point, you're allowed to drive a car by yourself without any supervision, because you've done the 120 hours and you've done the tests, and everyone's like, yeah, you know how to drive, good job. My friend, oh god, better late than never, right? So at the age of 25, he attempted his provisional driver's license, and unfortunately he did fail. Like, and look, he only messed it up by like one point. Like, he made like 3 or 4 like little mini mistakes, and if he made one less of any of the mistakes, he would have passed, and it would have been all good. But unfortunately, the 3 that he did make, that put together, was enough to fail him. And I could tell that he was kind of like, definitely annoyed, not at necessarily the test or the instructor or like the person who was marking him. He was annoyed at himself. And even though I was like, bro, it doesn't matter, like, because I explained it to him, I was like, when I first did my P's test, I messed it up, like a lot of people mess it up their first go, and then they get it the second one, like that, they know what to focus on. Like, they make a few mistakes in the first one, and then they know what to focus on, and then they kind of go about it doing the second time, and because they've had that experience, and then they ace it and they get it, and that's what happened to me, and I can almost guarantee that's what's going to happen with my friend. But I could tell by his voice and just the tonality in his voice that he was so deep down disappointed in himself, even though he knows that he's a competent driver. Even the instructor said, yeah, like clearly you're a good driver, but like unfortunately, these three little crosses unfortunately mean that it's not going to work out this week. Try again next time. I think it's something you gotta. It's very hard. It's very hard not to fall into that behavior, especially when when you perceive the test or the challenge in front of you to be easy or within your capabilities. It can be very frustrating and annoying, and you can be disappointed in yourself. But I think it's important to really shift your thoughts and attitudes towards those experiences and those emotions and feelings when you feel that. And I think you should try and limit it, because he knows that he's going to finish it and it's going to be fine, but he's still got this lagging feeling of, like I said, the disappointment and the frustration. But those emotions don't serve him that well. You could say that they can be used as a motivation. Those emotions can be used as a motivation to improve and to do better. I'd say you could still get that same motivation and that same, inspiration to do better and same drive without actually having to need to go through those negative emotions of the frustration and the annoyance or being annoyed. And I think, in a personal experience just recently, I had a situation where, this was in my uni, I did some assignments and, I ended up getting marks that weren't exactly what I was expecting. Like, it wasn't up to the same level that I normally tend to get. And instead of being frustrated or pissed off about it, the first thing I did was go to the feedback for the assignments and read what did I do wrong? Like, what happened? And I wasn't annoyed or anything by it or frustrated. If anything, it was just like, I always find it funny, I always somewhat get annoyed when people say, life's mistakes are just experiences that you learn from. And it's always just, the person that says something like that is always just a really annoying person. So I always hate that kind of thought and saying, but it is kind of true. You can take your mistakes and you can use them as something to whip yourself, with till the end of time and torment yourself. Or you can use them as a way, you don't even view them as mistakes necessarily, use them as learning experiences and improve yourself. Or, improves the circumstances in the future, or your future performance, or whatever it necessarily is. But don't fall into the trap that my friend does. It's really easy, don't get me wrong. I think it takes a long time of having to fail, looking at the feedback, whether it be direct feedback from, someone else, or it's something like a test where it's you got this wrong or that wrong, where it's it's set out in stone. It's 2 + 2 = 4. It's very direct. Whereas, in some of the other situations, the feedback might be coming from, a person, and you've got to kind of try and understand, you've got to try and break down what they're saying and to get the message and what they're actually trying to, give you the feedback for, and where they want you to improve, or what they think you should focus on, sorry. And you want to get to that as quickly as possible, and you need to do that enough times where you fail, you go through getting the feedback process, and then you then apply the new learnings, or you readjust and give it another shot, and then it usually ends up inevitably working, or you get even closer, and you just keep repeating that till it works. I think you need to go through that enough times. I think for the most part, I think I've gone through it enough times where I am now at a level, like I said, where I'll just immediately jump to the stage where I don't even really feel the negative emotions at all. Or if I do, it's for a fleeting, moment, and then it's just straight on to the feedback, and then incorporating that, and then working that into the kind of cycle of improved performance. So yeah, I guess that's just what I wanted to talk about, because I saw that the other day and I thought, yeah, you know what, that is something that is something you can fall into so easily, but I don't even think it's worthwhile even feeling those emotions. It doesn't add anything. You're better off just getting straight to the feedback part and incorporating that and getting that better performance for yourself, because, who wants to feel bad about yourself? I think that's the whole point of why we're doing this self-development, is that we don't want to feel bad. So yeah, I guess that's just something to think about. And anytime you go through something similar where you're kind of disappointed in yourself or you thought you should have done better, just look for feedback, look for ways you can improve, incorporate that in, and don't stress that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, it's like, is any of this shit really going to matter in 5 years' time? Like, every single time I ask myself that question, like, any time something goes wrong, I'm like, is this really going to matter in 5 years? And the answer normally is no. Like, it's essentially no. So with my friend with his driving test, is it going to matter in 5 years? Hell no. Whatever problems you've got going probably won't matter in 5 years. There is always the odd one that it does, and I think that one always needs more, time and thought put into it. But for the most part, don't stress the small stuff. See you later.